So there was this clear sentiment in Jammu in favor of, you know, this striking down of 370. If it's a NC Congress coalition government, if Congress has adequate number of seats, they can better represent the interest of Jammu. That they could not. There were problems in ticket distribution. The campaign really was not visible. You know, everywhere you could see huge billboards of Prime Minister Modi talking about, you know, situation pre 2014, post 2014, about terror, you know, violence. The narrative of the Congress, which started off with change, soon turned into a campaign around Mr. Hooda, Mr. Bhupinder Singh Hooda.
Yeah. Hello viewers. Last week the verdict on Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir polls were out. Yesterday the Omar Abdullah government took oath, and today Haryana's Naib Singh Saini has taken on to his second innings in Haryana today after taking oath. To discuss Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, and later Maharashtra and Jharkhand in the upcoming days, we have with us the chief of our political bureau at the Indian Express, Manoj CG. Manoj, last week the exit polls predicted that it was a clear win for Congress in Haryana and a hung assembly in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, but very anticlimactic for Congress, would you say, in Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir?
Not anticlimactic for the Congress in Jammu and Kashmir. You can, of course, say so in the case of Haryana.
Absolutely,
the Congress
absolutely.
had big hopes of ousting the BJP in Haryana.
Yes.
But they were pretty clear, the Congress at least,
Yeah.
Was pretty clear that they were not doing that great in the Jammu region.
Right.
Of the 43 seats in the Jammu region, the BJP won 29.
Correct.
They were 25 last time, so they improved their performance.
Right.
The Congress contested most of the Jammu seats as part of its alliance with the National Conference.
Absolutely.
The National Conference, of course, expected the Congress to do the heavy lifting in Jammu,
Yeah.
while it was doing the same in the Kashmir Valley.
Correct.
They did that. They did successfully. You know, they kind of decimated the PDP, the other players like Engineer Rashid's, the new party, or the candidates backed by the Jamaat Islami. They could not do much in the Kashmir Valley. So the National Conference did spectacularly well in the Kashmir Valley.
Absolutely.
The Congress, which was supposed to, you know, do its part as part of the alliance, could not
Right.
do much. In fact, of the 6 seats that the Congress got, only one is in Jammu.
Right.
That too, Rajouri.
Rajouri.
It's a Muslim candidate.
Yeah.
So the perception is that you know, in the Jammu region, the Hindu majority seats of the Jammu region,
Right.
the Congress was wiped out. It got only one seat in Rajouri, which is not a Hindu dominated seat. So and all its MLAs, the rest of the 5 MLAs are in the valley, where of course they would have got you know, enough support from the National Conference as well. Although we won't be able to say conclusively whether it was a Congress victory or an NC victory, but the NC is a big force in the valley.
Correct.
So the Congress would have gotten, you know, adequate support from the NC there. So when you look at the Congress's performance in Jammu and Kashmir, it was very, you know, underwhelming. And the party leadership, I am told, has taken serious note of it, and they're very unhappy. Which a reflection of which we saw in the party's decision to stay out of the.
Yeah, exactly. What was that about? Because I think there were talks about one ministerial berth at least being reserved for the Congress.
That talk started because Omar Abdullah, the chief minister now, he was willing to give one berth to the Congress. So initially there was this talk that the Congress wanted 2, but he was willing to give only 1. The Congress central leadership here in Delhi clearly says no. There was no discussion on that. In fact, the leadership was so unhappy that the party could not, you know, do much in this alliance. The NC leaders, both Farooq Abdullah and Omar Abdullah, they have not, you know, hidden their, you know, unhappiness also.
Absolutely.
Omar even before the results came out, made it public that it expected the Congress to, do much better campaigning in Jammu.
Yeah.
The other day, Farooq Abdullah said the Congress could not counter the BJP narrative in
Yeah,
Jammu.
yeah.
So they are unhappy. The Congress leadership perhaps has read those signals as well. And when we spoke to senior Congress leaders here yesterday, they were clear. Like, why should we be rewarding? Ministership at the end of the day is some sort of reward. What is there to reward when the party has got only 6 seats out of the 30 plus seats that it had contested?
Correct.
So they were very clear. There is no need to be part of the government. Let be outside of it. And then another factor that weighed heavily on the minds of the Congress leadership is that it's they will not say it publicly, but is that they are going to face elections in Maharashtra and Jharkhand.
Yeah.
After the Haryana defeat and after the poor performance in Jammu, these are key elections for the Congress, because after the Lok Sabha elections with 99 seats, the Congress had somehow managed to create this perception, a narrative that the BJP is losing grip suddenly.
Correct.
Modi's popularity, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi's popularity is on the wane.
Right.
They have lost seats in the Hindi heartland. So all that narrative that the Congress had tried to build over the last 4 months, it suddenly collapsed with Haryana and Jammu. So in that sense, Maharashtra and Jharkhand are key crucial elections for the Congress. They need to have victories under its belt. But if Article 370, restoration of Article 370, restoration of statehood, these are all key issues as far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned.
Mhm.
The manifesto of the National Conference clearly had stated that they would strive for restoration of 370. Of course, on the issue of statehood, both the Congress and the National Conference are on the same page. But what if tomorrow Mr. Omar Abdullah start making some noises on 370? Maybe the Assembly passes a resolution. They have the majority. What will happen to that resolution? That's a different question altogether.
Correct.
But what if they move in that direction? The
Yeah.
Congress will have to face questions from the BJP in Maharashtra and Jharkhand.
The balancing act would be very difficult.
Yeah, it will be difficult to politically explain, because the narrative in Jammu and Kashmir is not the narrative in rest of the country.
Absolutely.
The Congress had been ducking, this question of 370 since 2019.
Yes.
They have not clearly stated that they are for restoration of 370.
Right.
They have been beating around the bush, saying it was not done with it was done without enough consultation and all that. So they don't have a clear, coherent view on whether they want 370 back or not.
Right.
Whereas NC has a clear view. NC it's a state party. They can have a view. But Congress, the leadership says, is a national party which will have to balance these delicate issues. So that perhaps is another reason which forced the Congress to stay out of the government, so that if tomorrow something of this something happens,
Absolutely.
some development happens, they can say no, we are not part of the government.
Absolutely.
Of course, we are supporting the government. We are an alliance partner and all that. So that perhaps other than the two reasons that weighed heavily on the minds of the leadership.
Absolutely. Manoj, if you had to list out any 2 reasons that you think did not work out for Congress in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, what would they be?
No, clearly, I had travelled to Jammu and Kashmir for covering the elections. I was in Jammu. I went to Samba, Kathua, Rajouri, Doda, to almost all parts of Jammu. So there was this clear sentiment in Jammu in favor of this striking down of 370. Remember, it's a Hindu. Most of the seats are Hindu majority seats. So there was this clear support in favor of the BJP for that. But in several seats, there was this huge resentment against the local MLA. The BJP clearly had read that mood. They had changed their candidates. Many of their senior leaders, for instance, Kavinder Gupta, for instance, Nirmal Singh, they were denied tickets. They were fresh faces. The RSS had clearly told the BJP that, see, many of the MLAs are not very popular. We have to change them.
Right.
They did that. The Congress's ticket distribution was not exactly, that great. For instance, if you see the one of the ministers who took oath yesterday was Mr. Satish Sharma from Champ in the Jammu region. He's a Congress rebel. His father, I think, was denied the ticket. At the last minute, they moved a former state minister, Mr. Tara Chand, to Champ. So this person contested as a rebel. He won. So there was much resentment in the Congress camp as well. So there was this sentiment in favor of striking down abrogation of 370. There was this huge sentiment in Jammu that that region had been neglected over the years. So many people had, during our conversations, had told me it's the Kashmiri leaders, be it PDP, be it National Conference, they run the state. Jammu is always neglected.
Right.
So they wanted, I think, to counterbalance the NC or the PDP there by giving a huge number of seats to the BJP, whereas the Congress clearly could not create that narrative that if it's a NC Congress coalition government, if Congress has adequate number of seats, they can better represent the interest of Jammu. That they could not. There were problems in ticket distribution. The campaign really was not visible. Everywhere you could see huge billboards of Prime Minister Modi talking about situation pre-2014, post-2014, about terror, violence, but there was not much of a campaign which the Congress stitched through in Jammu, whereas they ran a much better campaign in Haryana, since both states went to elections together. The Congress campaign in Haryana was very much visible, although there was a different set of problems there. In Haryana, the Congress campaign was not at all visible in Jammu.
Correct. Absolutely. Now, moving on from Jammu to Haryana, the oath taking is almost done, I believe, by this time. And you have written extensively on what went wrong for Congress. So, can you decode it? How did Congress lose the plot in Haryana? Because the wave of anti-incumbency for the BJP was massive. I mean, and even the exit poll numbers predicted that way, that Congress cannot get this wrong. But at the last moment, it was snatching a defeat from the jaws of victory. And so how did they lose the plot in Haryana?
Just about 4 months ago in the Lok Sabha elections, the Congress got 5 out of the 10 seats.
Correct.
All 10 were with BJP.
Yeah.
So that was the first signal, perhaps, that there is an element of disenchantment towards the BJP in Haryana. The reasons were, of course, clear. We've been writing about it for long. The farmers' protest, the wrestlers' protest, even the Agniveer scheme. So, so there were issues which were uncomfortable for the BJP.
Right.
So, given that backdrop, it was the perception was that the Congress is coming back to power in Haryana after a gap of 10 years.
Yeah.
Many of the people who visited the state felt that the exit poll predictions were there. I mean, we discard all that.
Yeah.
But the Congress itself believed that it is about to cross the 50 mark. The BJP at some level felt they are in a tough kind of a situation. If you talk to BJP leaders, if you had talked to BJP leaders before elections, they were also not very confident. They were also hoping against hope. What went wrong for the Congress, perhaps, is the narrative of the Congress, which started off with change, soon turned into a campaign around Mr. Hooda, Mr. Bhupinder Singh Hooda.
Yeah.
So when the candidates were decided, it became clear that out of the 89 candidates, one seat the Congress gave to the CPIM, 72 candidates were Hooda camp followers, and of course these nitty-gritties about who got how many seats. That Kumari Shalja, she managed 7 to 9 seats. Mr. Surjewala, Randeep Singh Surjewala got a handful. All those details were leaked to the media, gladly given to the media. just to create a sense that Mr. Hooda has the upper hand
Right.
when it comes to deciding the candidates.
Mm.
Now from there it started because if there is a backdrop. If you see in 2014 as well as in 2019,
Right.
the BJP managed to win the state by forging a broad non-Jat coalition.
Mm.
Because Jats being a kind of a dominant caste in the state, there was a bit of anger among the people against Jats, because before that Mr. Hooda was the chief minister from 2005 to 14. The same semblance of which we can see in Uttar Pradesh as well, where there is a perception that Yadavs had cornered jobs and everything during Mulayam Singh Yadav or Akhilesh Yadav's rule and all. The same sentiment was there in Haryana as well. The Jats have cornered everything. So the BJP managed to forge a broad non-Jat coalition. So that was the case in 2014 and 19. So this time the Congress is hoping that that non-Jat coalition of the BJP, it will break, because there are issues. There are issues like the Agnivesh scheme, there are issues like the farm protest, wrestlers protest and all that. It will break the non-Jat coalition, and the Jats will, solidly stand behind Mr. Hooda and the Congress. But once this perception started gaining ground that, Mr. Hooda is coming back to power, the BJP, I think, managed to send across that message that it's again going to be a 2005 to 14 kind of a situation. Now, that kind of, I think, helped regroup the non-Jat votes, which the Congress could not read, because Mr. Hooda was leading the campaign in every sense. 72 seats, not just 72 seats. He became the face of the campaign.
Absolutely.
Then there were individual seats where the Congress kind of, messed it up. There are seats where there were rebels. Mr. Hooda's critics would say in the seats where he could not field his candidates, which the rest of the seats, leaving us at the 72 seats.
Correct.
There were rebels who had his support, tacit support, patronage and all. So in some of the seats, in Ballabh, we had one seat where the Congress official candidate got 8,000 votes, whereas the rebel got 44,000 votes. So there are several seats. In Ambala, one of the seats, the rebel came second. The Congress candidate was pushed to the third place. So there were mismanagement, the broad term, if we can use that, in terms of managing the rebels. Micromanagement is also one key part of electioneering.
Yeah, right.
So the larger campaign narrative perhaps was right from a Congress point of view, but it soon shifted to this Jat versus non-Jat contest, and they could not manage many of the rebels. They could not manage, how to prevent division of votes. So the party perhaps was overconfident. They overlooked all these aspects, hoping that there's this huge sentiment in favor of the Congress or against the BJP, that it will just surge ahead.
There were seat sharing talks between Aam Aadmi Party and Congress in Haryana that fell through. Do you think that would have made any difference in playing with the numbers?
In hindsight, we can say all that, but the larger point being, in an assembly constituency, in an assembly election, in assembly constituency, every vote matters. These are small margins can change, the equations.
Correct.
So if you ask Congress leaders now, they would say maybe Aam Aadmi Party, they would have been given, because they were, if I remember correctly, they started asking 11 to 14 seats and all, but finally they had come down to 5 seats.
Yeah.
But the choice of seats that the Congress was offering the Aam Aadmi Party, they were not very happy with it. They thought these are all seats which the party will lose. They were not winnable seats. So that's why the Congress is offering the Aam Aadmi Party those seats. So if you ask leaders now, they would say maybe we could have changed the composition. We could have given them 1 or 2 strong seats, managed that. In this whole Ahirwal belt, it starts from Gurgaon, where there's a huge OBC, Yadav, OBC population. Some leaders say they could have given 1 or 2 seats to Samajwadi Party, got Akhilesh Yadav to campaign. It would have made a difference because the Congress was washed out in this whole Lahirwal belt. They could not get a single seat. Maybe that would have changed. So, in hindsight, everyone is wiser. So they say things could have been done differently. But again, as I said, the confidence or overconfidence was so much that the Congress thought it's a done deal. They are going to win the seat, win the state.
Yeah. Now it's been a really long time that Congress hasn't won an assembly election in the north, except for the 2022 Himachal Himachal elections. How do you think this is affecting Congress? But on a broader scale, what do you think this will do to the India alliance?
No, you'll have to, de-link Congress with the India alliance because the Aam Aadmi Party managed to win Punjab, again snatching from the Congress only. Apart from that, in Bihar, the Mahagathbandhan, of which Congress was a part, they were just, they fell short by a few seats. They gave a tough fight to the BJP JDU alliance.
Correct.
UP was a completely different game. So Heartland since 2014 has remained a big challenge for Congress as well as many of the regional forces which are present
Absolutely.
here, which are RJD or the Samajwadi Party. Now the Aam Aadmi Party, because Delhi is going to election in just a few months' time.
Yes.
In January and February. So they will have to address this big challenge. And Congress plays a major role here. There are states like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Himachal, Uttarakhand, Chhattisgarh, where it's the Congress which is the main force. So the Lok Sabha elections gave these parties a semblance of hope because the BJP lost seats in UP, they lost seats in Rajasthan, Haryana, a couple of seats in Bihar. So there was a sense that the BJP after 10 years, Mr. Modi after 10 years is starting to lose its complete domination in the Hindi heartland. The Prime Minister is losing its popularity. I mean, it's not a big huge slide, but that curve has started. So that had given all these parties, not just the Congress, but the India Bloc parties hope. But Haryana, in one day has changed the equation. Now that next year is crucial. There is election in Delhi, and then later next year in Bihar. Again, two of the key states in the northern belt. But it's not a direct fight, unlike Haryana. It's not a direct fight between Congress and the BJP. In Bihar, it's an alliance.
And it's an alliance.
Aam Aadmi Party and Congress, maybe at the end of the day, they will join hands. So when it's a coalition, it's a slightly different dynamics. The BJP since 2014 manages, they find it easier to defeat the Congress in a direct fight. But they have their track record when it comes to taking on regional forces is not it's a mixed bag for the BJP. For example, in West Bengal, they really tried, but they could not. So in Jharkhand, the last elections, the JMM Commerce Alliance defeated the BJP. So the coming elections also will politics runs on perception. A large chunk of politics is about perception as well, and who runs the narrative, who creates a narrative, who gives a better narrative. So 2024 Lok Sabha elections, the narrative was that the BJP maybe finally starting to lose its absolute domination.
The 400 par never arrived.
400 par did not happen. They did not have a majority. They came down to 240. They are running a government with the help of TDP and the JDU. But Haryana kind of changed the narrative a bit.
Hmm.
Much will depend on how the opposition fares in Jharkhand and Maharashtra as well, especially Maharashtra.